All right. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 2 of the second arc of the Farthest Thunder Alien RPG, ttrpg. Uh, Last we left off, um, the survivors of Baxter's Reach are trying to get integrated into the crew and the life of great mothership, the UNCSS Yanla, as it continues on with its mission of reestablishing contact with the far spinward colonies after the Great Isolation. You were brought in to face the council of all of the leads um, from the various organizations, companies, and political factions that have united under the umbrella of the UN to undertake this mission. They had some questions for you as to what happened on Baxter's Reach. You were probably less forthcoming than they would have liked and had asked you rather forcefully to stay on the ship as if you had anywhere else to go um, until they've gotten to the bottom of things. Uh, Following that interrogation or debriefing would be a closer word to it. Aiko, you were called in by your boss at Wayland Yutani. What was his name again? Kamal Vartuhi. Uh, where you promptly fired. Dismissed for having every single member of the delegation killed. Having been at least indirectly responsible for the nuking of Baxter's Reach. Because, I mean, it was all your fault. You were in charge down there. Everything went to shit. So, and despite your reports of the Lich Gate and what you saw and experienced down there, it would seem that your boss, Director Vartuhi, will likely take the credit for that himself. So after being dismissed, you were brought back to the mess hall where your friends were to meet Electo Throop, the leader of the Throop Rescue and Reclamation group on the Great Mother mission. They are tasked with assisting ships that might be in distress, salvage, or anything of that nature. She spoke to you in private as a mess hall can be, about her own experiences in the past with creatures similar to what you faced on Baxter's Reach, and how, like you, the higher ups, the corpse leaders and whatnot, seem to disregard her warnings uh, and her fears. And the fact that you have encountered them out here in the far Spinward colonies upsets her, disturbs her, and she wanted to learn more about it because she still considers it's a grave threat, not only to the Great Mother mission, but all of humanity. She's kind of taken you or offered to take you all under her wing, perhaps enlist you within her organization, to give you something to do while you're on board the ship and you're kind of under house arrest, so to speak, until they get things figured out. But in the meantime, you also notice that there are a number of individuals from the Kellen Prospecting Company who have been giving you a bit of the side eye, especially Aiko in the mess hall. Aiko, who was not only fired that day, but also rejected from dinner because Electo Throop does not trust anyone from Wayland Yutani. was having a bit of a nervous breakdown, remembering that he had smuggled on board on, in Gideon's wheelchair a vial of the black goo recovered from Baxter's Reach.
In my mind, as Aiko, I was transporting it. Two different domains, okay? You say smuggled, but the label becomes the experience, okay?
Through one of your many contacts aboard the great mothership, you found one that would perhaps recover this vial, used various code words, but not so subtly, told him where he could find it. Um, assuming everything would just go smoothly and without trouble or consequence. Unfortunately, it would seem that the security personnel are suddenly interested in finding you, Aiko. And as Mad Megs and South distract the guards long enough for Aiko to make an escape out the rear entrance of the mess hall, that's where we left things. One thing I forgot to mention, Megs, you did a little bit of scouting aboard the Great Mother mission, the Ianla, and found yourself a nice little hole. A nice little part of the ship, perhaps in the maintenance shafts or corridors that are not very well traversed, where you could set up a new shop. You've already given it a name, potentially, the Void. And that is where we left things. So that's, I'm going to start with you, Aiko. You were being helped out of the mess hall by Otmar and Gideon, I believe. You guys were kind of like practically carrying him up. Gideon, remember, you're still in a wheelchair. This is like just a few days after you have come back from Baxter's Reach. Catch up with Aiko, who's having a little bit of a panic attack outside. Actually escorted him out of the mess hall, I believe. Where are you guys taking him?
That's a good question. Should we
What
just...
locations do we know of? Where have we been, or where do we know of? Like on the ship so far?
Really don't know much. When you were brought on board from Baxter's Reach, you were held in isolation and quarantine for a few days, and then you went pretty much straight from there to the debriefing, and then from there you were released to your quarters.
But
So
we're in Electothorpe's neighborhood
you're in
at this moment.
You're in the general crew quarters type
crew
area.
Quarters. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Otmar would maybe be able to tell that Aiko was kind of having a breakdown, because they're kind of having to drag him. He's kind of limp and not like frantic and struggling. So he might look around for a place to hide him away for a little bit. Maybe a vent shaft, maybe a maintenance locker.
All right. Can you go ahead and make an observation check for me, please? Let's see if you can find anything handy.
I feel like while Otmar is looking around, Gideon's just in the back, just poking Aiko, like, are you good? Are you alive?
All right. Otmar, you managed to find what looks to be like a small utility closet that you could possibly duck into.
Does he think it's airtight, or would oxygen flow in and out of it?
Oh yeah, there's still ventilation in there.
Okay. So he would, I think we'll all feel better a little bit later. You just keep a low profile right here. Gotta go. Draw him off. That closes the door and starts pushing Gideon, I think, back to the where they came from.
All right. So it's not very far. By the way, Megs, South, after the guards kind of push past you into the mess hall looking for Aiko, what do the two of you do?
I thought I was being carted off.
Were you? I don't.
Yeah, I think I like messed with the guards or whatever and tried to keep them occupied a little longer. And they got upset about it.
Oh, I don't recall
Maybe
that.
misremembering. Maybe getting everything confused with season 1.
Well, if you want to, you can throw a punch or try and grapple one of these guards if you like to try and physically stop them from chasing.
No, I think I've learned my lesson from season 1. How that went. So I think so, but they've had enough time to get out of the.
Yeah.
I think Mags said something to him, trying to hold him up. I think I tried to pick Mags up, wasn't it, or something like that? 'Cause she was acting like she was drunk or something.
Megs was acting drunk. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll just turn around and kind of help pick Mags up and kind of chauffeur her outside of out of the way of the guards.
Okay. I'll actually allow both of you to make an observation check since you guys are both kind of there and very much aware of what's going on. Wow, you guys are already up, up in the panic rolls. Okay. You both notice as the 4 security personnel rush through the mess hall, look into the mess hall looking for Aiko. You can see the Kellen prospecting guys in the blue jumpsuits just point to the other exit, and the security cars just run out that way. And you notice South as you kind of look in. Both of you actually. Actually, no, Megs, you don't notice. You're acting too drunk. But South, do you notice as you look in that these Kellen guys look at you and they don't seem very pleased. It's quite obvious on their face that they hold you, the sole survivors of Baxter's Reach, responsible for the death of their friends.
I'll look at Mags and kind of hunch over and say, Mags, you got to get out of here before we're next. Not catching a all eyes on us kind of vibe.
I think you're right. I think it's time to take our hand and walk away.
What's that? What's the song? You got to know when to fold them. I think now's a great time to fold and get out of here.
Are you walking away or running?
I don't want to run because I feel like that'd be way too suspicious just to like
All right.
bolt out the door. But I'll
right.
kind of like put Mags over my shoulder and just kind of slowly try to make a way towards the nearest exit.
All right. Gideon, Otmar, as you're making your way back to the mess hall, Otmar, you're kind of pushing Gideon along. You run into the 4 security guards. And when they see you, Gideon says, "Is that the one?" Yeah. He came in with them, wheelchair and all. Right. Take him. You see 2 of the security personnel move in. Take you, Gideon.
Y'all are gonna push
Wait,
for
what?
once. Where are we going?
Excuse me, sir.
What?
The one of the security officers tell you. But this individual, Gideon, you are under arrest for smuggling.
Smuggling?
Smuggling what now?
That's none of your business, sir. Please come with us,
Son of a
Gideon.
bitch.
I'm sorry, I believe it is my
That
business.
Son of a bitch.
Unless
gonna
you would
fucking
like to come
kill
with us, sir.
Oh, I'm coming with you, or should I say you're coming with me?
I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Like
Where the
I
hell is
said,
Aiko? I'm gonna fucking
you
kill him.
push the kid. Where are we going?
We're going to the brig, sir.
All right, lead the way.
God, swear to God, I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna fucking kill him. Is this why he
Alright.
was freaking out over the chair?
So they quickly converse with one another, the security guards, and they decide 2 of them are going to escort you to the brig, and 2 of them are going to continue looking for Aiko. Aiko, you are in this closet. You stay there.
He's crying, having a bit of a conversation with himself. Not quite Gollum, Lord of the Rings level, but he's approaching that. He's gonna he's gonna stay, but he is going to be talking, so he's kind of zoned out.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you roll to see if these guys hear you as you're talking to yourself in this closet. So go ahead and roll 66 for me, please. Not. Successes there. All right, you hear heavy footsteps kind of walk past the door. So one of them saying, couldn't have gone far. And the footsteps kind of recede off into the distance.
You know, I was gonna be president of the Mergers and Acquisitions Department. Oh, the worst things happened to me.
While Aiko is having a woe is me moment in the closet, Gideon, Otmar, you are escorted to the brig. Gideon, you are placed into a cell. Otmar,
Yeah.
they hold the door open for you. Not in the same cell as Gideon.
Yeah, he would go in.
Close the doors, and you guys are left to sit there. You are the only two occupants of the brig at this time.
Swear to God, I'm gonna fucking kill Aiko when I see him.
What do you think it was?
So you remember how he was going on about that goop? I have a sneaking suspicion that motherfucker just made me a fucking mule to get his goop off of the planet. I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Does sound like Aiko.
I'm gonna fucking kill him. And of course, I can't say shit. I was stuck in that fucking. Oh, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
South. Megs, as you make your way, are you making your way back to your quarters? Or where would you guys like to go?
What did we see of or know of Otmar and Gideon's situation?
You would not have seen or heard.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We just know that Aiko is also bolted, right?
Yeah.
South, I think you can put me down now.
That was some good acting, Mags.
You have to be persuasive sometimes, you know. My line of work. But I think we've got some important things to deal with here. Where do you suppose Aiko went?
I don't know, having a mental break. Maybe to his quarters, maybe some duct work. It could be anyone's guess, really.
I think we got to find him.
As you guys are standing there in this corridor, discussing what your options are, you hear the footsteps approaching before you see them. And around the corner are 4 Kelland prospecting staff.
So we don't see them yet. We just hear them
Oh,
coming.
you see them now. They
Okay.
just came around the corner.
Can we help you guys? Lost? What's up?
They move to surround you. Are you going to let them?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm with Mags on that. Probably not. Maybe you said there's 4 of them. There's only
Yeah.
2 of us. Maybe try to. I don't really want to spread out, Mags, but I don't know how we could not be surrounded. Definitely don't want to get backed into a wall for sure. Guess do our best just to not be surrounded.
All right. So
Whatever
you
that
keep back.
entails.
You keep backing up away
Yeah.
from them.
She, yeah, she'll, I mean, Mags will start taking a step back and she might say, looks like you boys are feeling lucky. That's pretty cute. And she's trying to assess the situation. Are any of them armed? Can she tell anything about what's coming?
You do notice that a couple of them are holding like heavy wrenches as weapons. Where are you all going now? We just want to talk.
Can hear you just fine from where you're standing.
They stop. So we just want to know what actually happened down there now. What happened to our friend, Alex?
You want the long story or you want the short story?
What we want to know is why you're alive and standing here and he ain't.
Short story it is. We didn't get infected by your Corpo Mastermind's bioweapon. Alex did. Alex went nuts, turned into I don't even really know how to explain it. Some monster, and then proceeded to kill everyone in the town. So that's why Alex is not here. And he was relatively lazy and didn't like to do anything. Had a bunch of citations from Aiko, so probably should really be asking Aiko.
And the even shorter version of it is he wasn't good enough to stay alive.
All right, so I will allow one of you to roll a manipulation check. And because of that last remark, you're going to subtract 2 dice from it.
My manipulation and empathy is not good.
Mine's pretty good. So we're taking 2 die off, though. Here we go.
All right. So when you make those, that last remark, and the fact that So said he was a lazy SOB, one of them actually pipes up and says, "Yeah, that's Alex, fucking freeloader." But that don't mean you gotta die for it. Now, what the hell do you mean a bioweapon?
Again, short story. Beatles, goo. Look, man, I don't know. It's been a long 3 or 4 days. I want to go to my quarters and probably black out, and you're really getting in the way of that.
Listen, we're just grunts, like you guys. Nobody tells us shit. We don't know anything. All we know is that a bunch of folks went down, including our friends, and they didn't come back. The only one that came back was that weasel, Aiko. You tell your friend that we'd like to have a conversation with him.
I would love for you to have a conversation with him. And I understand you guys lost a lot of friends, but We lost an entire home, an entire colony, in a matter of, was it 2-hour cycles? So a matter of like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So,
Not
and
to
again,
mention,
it all happened, I mean, blindingly fast. Like, I don't know how to explain it, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I could.
I'm not sure friend is the right term to describe our relationship with Aiko. I think that's a little on the generous side. That said, I think you might want to focus some of your attention. She sort of like does a head nod towards the ranch, towards the uppers around here. Perhaps we should get to know each other a little better. Maybe work together to get to the bottom of this. What do you say?
Rumor has it, as he's looking at you, Megs, you ran a bit of a casino down there. Is that true?
I don't like to spoil all the fun, but maybe. Maybe that's true.
They
Been
look at each other.
fixing to get back into the business, frankly. Y'all like to roll some dice, play some cards?
They look at each other and kind of smile slyly at one another. Yeah, we know our way around cards. Maybe we can help
should
you get
talk.
set up.
Like the idea then. We should talk more. But not now. We're exhausted. I'll find you later.
Don't forget, I want to date with that Aiko.
Hey, on that. You friendly with these security forces?
They're just corporate lapdogs. I think half of them are synths.
Let's say they managed to get to Aiko first. Where you think they might stow him?
He'd be headed for the brig for sure. But we're hoping to get to see him before they get him. You know, do our own debriefing.
Well.
So these guys are just prospectors. They're not actually mechanics on the ship.
No.
Okay, so they really wouldn't know like the ins and outs of like the corridors and all that. Okay.
Not
Like
really.
maintenance hallways.
They know like where their cargo is and all that kind of stuff, but they don't really. They're not here for maintenance or the cryo chambers or anything like that. All right. Well, you get some rest then. Welcome aboard.
You know, you guys have been the first decent people I think I've met on this ship since we got here. Appreciate that.
Give you a surly nod and walk away. All right. So where are you guys off in search of the brig then?
Well, we still wouldn't know. I guess that Aiko for sure went to the brig though yet, would we? Still just kind of assuming he just had a panic attack and ran somewhere.
Hid somewhere and then
Accompanied
they
by
had duck
Gideon
somewhere.
and Otmar.
What are the odds
Yeah.
What are the odds, though, that he's not in the brig, given his condition? Strikes me as a likely location to find him.
The security guards did seem pretty keen on getting him, didn't they? I mean, it's probably far and few between. It's worth a shot. Problem is how do we get in the brig without ending up in the brig? And on top of that, where's Gideon and Otmar?
Great questions. How do we get
Good
in the
one.
brig? I don't know, but maybe we can find out who's in there with a little bit of coin. Maybe a little bit of sweet talking.
Maybe we find a maintenance guy, knows the system. Maybe find an old maintenance shaft. Take a little peek-see in the Briggsy.
You lead.
I'll have one of you make a ComTech check. This is to see if you can find your way around, like a ship map or something, to find your way to the brig.
I have 0 points in Comtech. I do have a 4 in wits, but that's all I got.
You guys might want to take a little bit of a breather. Like maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes just to calm down. You guys have been like, just sort of a pretty intense debriefing. You guys have been confronted by some angry prospectors. Just chill for a few minutes. And what I'll let you do is remove your panic status. Again. Unfortunately, you are unable to find the brig. Hold on, no, you did. You got one success. You do manage to find it, but it is pretty far. But is there anywhere you want to go before that? You're gonna head straight there.
I think I need to take a little time to cool my jets. I'll head back to the room. Why don't we give it a good 30, 45 minutes? Calm down a little bit. Then get our heads together. Figure out the next step. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. I could use a drink. God, I could use a drink and a cigarette. I hadn't had a cigarette since we got here. What? Been here for 3 days? I think that's the longest I've ever gone without a cigarette. I think Benji would be proud.
Aiko, while you are talking to yourself in this broom closet, you also managed to relieve your panic. Take that condition off.
Do I drop my stress to 0 as well?
No.
Aiko's gonna, after somewhat calming down, he still can't. He still thinks he can be the president of the mergers and acquisitions department, so he hasn't accepted that, but he has accepted that he's not on good terms with the director. He's halfway there. In the meantime, he's gonna now start playing back what just happened and process that, and he realizes, oh crap, it probably might know about the goo. Aiko's gonna pull out his little black book of bribes, and he's gonna start flipping through to see if he knows anybody in security that he has extortion material on.
All right. Let's call this. Let's just call it a manipulation check. Just see if you know anyone around that might have some dirt on. All right. So yeah, there are. Your hand kind of wavers a little bit as you're leafing through your little black book. But yeah, there's one guard that maybe you caught drinking on duty that you kind of covered for, and he owes you one.
Having another panic attack.
You drop your little book.
He's gonna every time he thinks about being fired, he has a panic. He fires people. He doesn't get fired. This is a stain on everything he holds dear. But he's gonna make an attempted call on the security guy and figure out what might have happened to his compatriots. He can get some surveillance data. He wants to know about Mags, Otmar, South, Gideon, and he'll send him an encrypted message with their descriptions, and he wants to know where they are on the ship.
All right. Go ahead and make a contact check for me, please.
Ooh.
Really? Oh, wow.
I would just like to think like he's trapped in that closet and he bends over to pick up the book and he hits his head on the front of the door.
Yeah. The walls are closing in on you, Aiko. This is you can't for the life of you get your your comm going. You feel like they've locked you out.
Oh, they locked out my comms. Now he's gonna go full Gollum and just start talking into the comm tech like, they think they can lock me up. They can lock me up. They can lock me up. Aiko, that's it. Aiko's pissed. He's just gonna kick open the door. Fine. This is what you want. Aiko is literally just going to start walking towards. He knows where the security surveillance room is. He's just gonna go and try to walk there and look at the cameras himself. I'll look at it myself. I'll go look at the cameras. Cameras will tell me where they are. That's where I'm going.
Are me and Max far enough or close enough that we would hear him kick open?
You do hear like a commotion a little far away. You can hear people say, "Are you okay, buddy? Like, you okay? Do you need some help?"
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
You guys can hear.
The minute I hear that I'm fine, I immediately, unfortunately, recognize his voice. And I'll start to walk over. Or walk in that direction of wherever it come from.
You do manage to find Aiko wandering the halls, acting a little erratically. People giving him a wide berth. Some of them approaching him, asking if he's okay. But most of them are just thinking, "Who the hell is this crazy dude?" Yeah. What would you like to do when you see him?
Aiko, buddy, you okay?
Oh, look who it is. There's one of you. Now we have to find the other three.
Well, I know where Mags is at. Where did Gideon and Otmar go? Last I seen, they were taking you out of the lunch hall.
I guess we're down to 2.
You're not looking so hot. You're looking kind of sweaty, a little clammy.
Aiko's gonna like grab him,
shaking.
pull him right into his face. They are fucking with my comms. My comms!
Okay. Who's fucking with your comms?
Aiko's gonna hand him his contact device. Can't call anybody on this fucking thing. They locked me.
Aiko, they... Pardon my French, but they did kind of shit can you. I mean, what did you really expect?
You hear the boots coming.
Did a hillbilly just tell me that I was fired?
I'll hear the boots and just kind of forcefully grab Aiko by the ear like a like a parent, and just like, come on, we've got to go. We don't have time for this. And yes, this hillbilly did tell you get shit canned. Let's go.
While Aiko is being dragged, he's gonna start litigating him on the levels of ranks that he's achieved and comparing them to the fact that he's literally like a cattle farmer.
Aiko, I don't give a shit about any of that. The only thing that matters is, for whatever reason, these guys want to find you. And I'm about 90% sure, not because they want to throw you a birthday party or reinstate you.
Ah, we have to find Gideon's wheelchair.
Back in the brig. Gideon, Otmar, enough time has passed that your stress has been removed. In walks one of the individuals you saw in the briefing the other day, earlier that day. Wayland Yutani exec, flanked by a couple of individuals, including Gaius.
How'd it feel to fire Aiko yesterday? Must have felt good.
You've heard already. Well, perhaps some people just aren't cut out for it, you know.
Nuking colonies, yeah, takes a special breed.
Completely ignores that comment and walks over to you, Gideon. Stands directly in front of your cell. You must be Gideon.
Yeah, nice.
I
guess to meet you.
And how are you feeling? The medical attention you've been getting on the ship is satisfactory.
Yeah. It's okay.
Good. I hope you your recovery is quick and complicated. I just had a quick question for you. Now I understand being in the debriefing earlier today it could have been a little intimidating, and you were quite quiet. But I get the distinct impression that you have much to tell me. Now, as the director of this operation for Wayland Yutani on this multi-billion-dollar mission, I have a great number of assets and wealth at my disposal. Now, I understand you are without a home now, and I understand that you might have lost some family back on Baxter's Region. For that, I'm truly sorry. But perhaps I can help you out, get reestablished, lift this house arrest that you and your friends are under.
I don't get it. Why?
All I want is some information. Could you do that for me?
Sure. Okay. Well, my birthday's in October. It's what my sister called it a Virgo, Aquarian. I don't remember what it was. And then there was that other time where I might have accidentally broken through Mr. Wynn's window with a baseball at one time, but that was totally an accident. I could keep going. What?
That's how you want to play this? You can rot in here for all I care.
I'm sorry. I generally have no idea what you're talking about.
I want to know about the substance that you smuggled on board the Anla.
I said what now?
He's looking at you. How well do you know Mr. Kimura?
I can't tell if he's just pretending to be an idiot or if he's an actual idiot.
Do you owe him any loyalty, Mr. Gideon?
I mean, not really, but I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about.
So is there any reason why he would perhaps want to frame you for a crime?
Yeah, this guy used me as a human shield when we first met, so I mean, I got a couple ideas, but like, I don't know why he would.
He pulls from an inside pocket. It looks to be a vial. And inside is a black tar. Like,
I think
have you
Gideon visibly
seen?
stiffens at that.
Have you seen anything like this before?
Oh,
No.
not here.
On the surface, I mean, or on Baxter's Reach, perhaps, when you were fighting those beetles, or in that alien facility.
I mean, there was a lot of weird shit. I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like that in there.
You're certain you have not seen this before?
No, sir, God is my witness.
So you're certain that Mr. Komura did not ask you to hold on to this for him?
While I've been out of it for a bit, motherfucker hasn't talked to me since we got here, so not really.
What about your other friends from Baxter's Reach? You think they would know what this is?
No, but if they did, I don't think they'd be stupid enough to mess around with it.
Oh, why's that?
That's a black goo you have in a vial. I've seen enough horror movies to know that's bad shit.
Make a manipulation check for me, please, Gideon.
Oh god. Why? It could be anything else. Why?
Ooh. All right. He looks at you. He's just staring at you. And you see Gaius. I'm going to make a roll for him. He leans in. Sir, I believe she's lying. The director just looks at you and says, see. And then he walks over to your cell, Otmar. And you, sir. Are you in on this as well?
Did he hear that whole exchange?
Yes.
I think you should go on and try it. Take a little dab will do you. It's right on the lip.
You know what this is.
I know I want nothing to do with that. I don't know where it came from, but I think y'all were looking for it. You knew it was going to be there. You've seen the footage. You know the caliber we're dealing with here.
Would either of you happen to know where Mr. Kimura might be at this time?
I think he's on the ship. He was just a few minutes ago.
He does really like hugging pipes if you want to check around those.
Otmar.
Probably having a mental breakdown. Yeah, he's right.
Oh, that I have absolutely no doubt. He is a bit of a touchy individual. But it intrigues me. Why are you protecting him?
We're not protecting him. What makes you think we're protecting him? He's the last surviving member of y'all who nuked our colony. When you were there for some bio-arms deal in the first place? What the fuck?
He gets overcome with rage and he can't talk to him anymore.
By about this time, Megs, South, and Aiko, you are approaching the brig. And there is one guard sitting behind the table there, and then two other guards kind of standing at the door that leads into the cells. The individual at the desk looks up at you and says, "Can I help you?"
Yeah, excuse me. I'm sorry, I didn't want to take away from your clearly important duties here, but I do have a question. I was sent to find out just how many free cells are in the brig.
Oh, and you can clear. Sorry, before you. I was going to say you can clear your stress too, but you're good. He looks at you a little incredulously and says, "Can I ask who's making this inquiry?"
Well, it was, as you know, I'm new here, so it's very hard for me to know. Can't recall the name. Definitely a security guard. Looked just like you. A little bit taller. If you throw out some names, I might remember. Not good with
Mark.
names.
He's the tall one. Mark, like kind of gangly looking fellow. The uniform doesn't quite fit him.
Yeah,
Short.
that
Okay.
that sounds about right.
All right. Yeah, Mark. Okay. Yeah. Well, we've only got the two in. They just came in recently. They've got a visitor right now. But
Oh, no. Sorry, you got two in there, but okay, that's good to know. But how many cells does that leave in the brig?
oh, we only got 6 cells.
Okay. All right, I'll report back. Oh, and you said they just got in? That's strange. I think he was expecting it to be empty, but
Yeah, I don't know what. But I mean, the director of Whale and Yutani's in there right now.
Well, that was going to be my next question. See, we were supposed to be looking for him. Something about a prisoner needing to be escorted. Anyways, let me go. We'll go find out some information. We'll be back. And she's sort of like trying to hustle out of here. Come on, South. Let's go.
As we're hustling back out, South is going to look at Aiko and go, what's with the wheelchair? Why are you freaking out about a wheelchair?
Okay, so
Aiko, just spit it out. Please, for
as
the
you
love of God, just
recall,
spit it out.
as you recall, I was the vice president of mergers and acquisitions.
Yes, Vice President, mergers. Okay, can we skip to the wheelchair part?
I took this mission,
Cut to the wheelchair.
gained some leverage for a promotion.
Lost it, Max. He's totally fucking lost it.
That leverage was in the form of that black goo that we had on the planet.
You did
So
not.
I
Tell me you did not.
brought that leverage with me. I just happened to have left it on Gideon's wheelchair when we came back.
You brought that onto the ship.
I can tell you don't know very much about business.
Aiko, I don't know about business because I've never run a business, but I have seen what that shit can do. And if that gets out on this ship,
It's called negotiating. Exactly.
you can't negotiate with anyone if everyone's dead. Aiko, that's not you can't negotiate with a corpse or a monster.
That's where you're wrong.
So you
see,
put it in the wheelchair.
it's the threat of death and a few examples being made that gives you the power of negotiation. You guys were a victim of it. They nuked your planet. And I can tell you right now, they did it for a reason.
Oh, I know they did it for a reason. I am
Yes.
abundantly aware of that.
But that
I
gives
didn't
them
think-
leverage that we don't have right now. But if we can get that goo, we can get the leverage back.
So where's the wheelchair?
That, my dear Watson.
Tell me you
$1
didn't
million
lose
question.
the fucking wheelchair.
There was a lot going on, but we got back.
Jesus Christ, Aiko. What the fuck? So, let me get this straight, just so I know what's going on in your corner. You have lost the wheelchair. You have lost all your ship credentials, so you are now pretty much locked out of any and all facilities. And you don't know how to work your Comtech. And you dropped your book full of bribes.
Where's this going?
I'm beginning to think, Aiko, you talked about having leverage. Aiko, we hadn't really been the best of friends or really acquaintances for that matter. But it seems to me that you may have lost all of your leverage. And I could take you into that brig, save my friends, and my head hit a pillow, wouldn't feel bad about it.
South, I will probably never say this again, but that's an insightful thought you had. And you are absolutely right. We don't have the leverage. We have to go get it. Aiko would like to recall if Major Director Kamal Vartui, his kids and his family are on board.
No.
No? And is his wife on board or his partner?
No family. No family.
What
You
dog?
said no dead children in this season. that was a veil.
Whoa.
No
He went
family.
straight for the
Paid
children.
before
His
death.
kids on board.
He is 100% devoted to the corporation. No family.
I think at this point, 'cause I know they're looking for Aiko. So if I were to, because the guy at the office said that the Wayland Wutani director was in that room with him, right?
In the break beyond the guard post, effectively in front of it. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell the security officer at the front desk to buzz him and tell him Aiko or South has Aiko, and Aiko would like to see him. You said we needed to bust in and get it. He's got the goo in his hand.
He's the clerk there, the guard there, just looks up at you. Oh, Okay. You can see a bank of monitors, actually, that he's sitting there. Can you make an observation check for me, please, just to see if you can see them from the angle you're standing, where you're standing over him. All right. You catch a glimpse of, on one of the monitors, the back of the director's head, and he seems to be facing and talking to Gideon and Otmar, who are in separate cells. And he presses the button and says, Director Kamal, Director Fartui, sorry. Apparently, an individual named South is here with Aiko.
Aiko's
And you
gonna
can
lean over to South. What's the plan here?
I'm using the
think-
only leverage I got left on this ship to get my friends out.
You can see Vartui in the monitor just kind of talk into some comm device, and two other guards standing by the door to the brig step forward towards you, Aiko.
Whoa. Y'all aren't taking him. I'm taking him. Me and Mags are taking him to see the director.
We need a private word.
We'd like to make a trade. A little 2-for-1 trade. I'd like to get my friends out of the brig. I give him the chat that he wants to have with Aiko.
All right. They relay this over the comms to Vartui and says, you're all invited inside. And they open up the brig door, and the two guards, who are armed, by the way, and escort you in. So you see Otmar and Gideon in separate cells, and they usher each of you to enter cells.
No, I don't think me and Max be entering a cell. In fact, I do believe all four of us will be leaving, and you can have your private little chat with Aiko. What was your name again?
The director looks at you, South, and says, and who the hell are you?
Jacob Howard. How are you?
Well, Mr. Howard, please get into one of these cells so we can have a conversation. It's for your safety and mine.
On that camera, did I see that he was holding the goo, or did I just saw him
You just saw the back of him. You didn't see the
back
goo.
of him with the cells? Safety. South will kind of look at Mags and look on his body and go, "I'm unarmed. I do believe Mags is unarmed, and
Please,
those two are in a cell."
This
I
is
don't think
just
there's any
until we
threat
get
here.
things sorted out. I don't intend on holding you here any longer than our conversation.
No, I think I brought you Aiko, and I feel like that's a show of good faith. I know you'd been searching the ship for him, so the least you could do is show me some good faith and trust that I'm no threat to you, and neither is Mags, and for that matter, neither is Gideon or Otmar. Gideon's in a wheelchair. What is he gonna do? Run away? Otmar, he's pretty good with his hands, so you may have to watch him. But we're in no
How
particular.
about I
need of
stay
armor.
in here as insurance? And the rest of them, you have a conversation with like a decent fucking human being. Can you manage that? Can you muster that?
I understand you all have been through a terrible, traumatic experience.
I'm warning you. If I have to hear you say I'm sorry for your loss one more time, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Mr. Kimura, would you do, would you mind entering a cell, please? If you do so, all your friends are free to.
South will push him into a cell.
Aiko, do you want to resist that?
Probably the right move.
He's gonna he kind of takes his shoves. He's gonna look over to Mags and say, "Well, when you're out of chips, what do you do?"
You fold. Or in your case, I think you're fired.
Aiko's just gonna go and sit down in the cell and put his head down.
The director signals the guards to open your cell doors, Gideon and Otmar. Thank you for our conversation. You're free to go. Sorry for the misunderstanding and inconvenience.
What are you going to do with that goo? I'm surprised you have it on you. I know you're not brave enough for that. You must just be stupid enough. I should be destroyed.
This vial, I would ask that you keep it to yourselves. It is proprietary property of Willani.
So proprietary, as in you did manufacture it. And you did
Thomas,
put it
I
on Baxter
don't
Street.
know.
I would strongly recommend you keep this to yourselves. If news gets out of this, you would not only cause undue stress amongst the other delegations on this ship, but would also have a negative impact on your status here as well. Do I make myself clear?
Crystal, but what's in it for us?
Well, I have what I want, as he looks over at Aiko. You have your freedom. I frankly don't give a damn what or where you go now. Find yourself the next rock to crawl under and be on your way.
In order to crawl under
Amazing.
that rock, I think we would need a little support, like a transport. Gotta find that rock. I'm sure you have connections. Can you get us a way out of here?
Perhaps. I believe our next stop is a mining colony. We can arrange to have you dropped off there. And from there, you're on your own. I'll give you each enough to get you started and resettled. Does that sound fair?
Otmar spits. Enough. Quanto.
Easy, Otmar. I think it sounds like a fair shake.
Have a deal then? And he holds his hand out.
We have a deal, but I'm not shaking that fucking hand. Never shook hands with a corp. About to start now. And after all, you did in a way admit that you're the reason Baxter's Reach is gone. So
Fine. I have some further business to discuss with Mr. Kimura. You're free to go.
one other thing, just out of curiosity. I mean, I don't really care what you do with him or how you dispose of him, but are you gonna kill him?
Am I? We're not barbarians here.
Maybe. Maybe not. I was just wondering.
I will have Gaius draft up some NDAs. I would expect you to sign them before the end of day.
Think we can manage that?
You all to leave.
South will walk out.
I'll follow behind.
Toodaloo.
Bags as well.
The door
Now that
closes.
it's actually happened, that feels really cold. I'm sorry, Aiko.
NDAs. What a way to go.
All right. So there is
cold
a
and calculated.
there's a loud metal clank as the door closes behind you, leaving just the director, Gaius, and Aiko in the brig, with Aiko in a cell. Head in your hands, or just kind of on your chin.
He's gonna kind of look over. Yeah, you got me. You have all the power.
He pulls out the vial with the black goo and says, "Mr. Kimura, if you were forthcoming with this acquisition from the beginning, our situation could have been very different than what it is now. But you didn't, and I have to wonder why."
That was the bargaining chip that I could have held over my superior's head, and they would have had no choice but to move me into presidents, the vice for the mergers and acquisitions department. They would get their bioweapon, and I would get what I rightfully deserve.
It's unfortunate that things did not turn out the way you wanted them. But I must ask, where did you take this sample from?
Now, isn't that the million-dollar question? And from the notes that I managed to read through of the not-so-good doctor and some of the other files I found on the ship, it would seem that what you hold in your hand is only one of many variants. And I don't think you really understand what you're holding there.
I understand enough to know that there's probably enough substance in here to kill everybody, including the 10,000 people in Cryosleep.
Aiko's going to look at Gaius as he says that. Does Gaius have any reaction?
Observation check. You can get rid of your panic and stress, by the way. There's been... Gaius has a kind of a blank expression on his face, emotionless. But you can tell with that one success that he is listening. He is attentive. And the director continues and says, "Do you have any idea how much you've risked by bringing this on board this ship? You would have put this entire mission in jeopardy.
This is why you're a fucking director. All you see are the pawns on the chessboard. You don't see all the other chessboards that are on the table. You think we have power? You think these atom bombs, these guns, you think that's power? What you're holding in your hand, if you understood it, is the most potent substance in the universe. And either we get control of it or our enemies do. And if I left it there, I would have left us exposed to somebody else figuring this out and taking our power away. If you truly are loyal to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, which I doubt highly that you are from the way you've treated me, you'd be rolling out the red carpet and you'd be working with me to understand even more about what that can do and what that does. Because I'll also tell you, there's somebody down there who knows a lot more than we do, and I'm going to look at Gaius as I say that. And that black goo, that little thing you have in your hand, is the least of our problems.
You see Bartui's just looking now at the vial in his hand. Can you make another observation check for me, please? This is passive, so you can't push it. I'll need to think about this.
Can I talk to Gaius when you leave? Just for a minute.
Of course. Gaius, draft up those NDAs as soon as you can and send those out to our friends from Baxter's Reach. I'll be in my office as he tucks the vial back into his coat pocket and signals the guard to let him out. Gaius now stands in front of you.
Are you happy, Gaius?
I'm sorry, but why would I be happy?
Are you happy with where you are in life?
Happiness has nothing to do where I am at life. I'm here to serve.
Do you ever get frustrated? Your role at the company? Do you feel that any of these tasks are beneath you? I mean, you're a pretty capable android, and he's just asking you to write up some documents.
Director Vartuhi trusts me with his most delicate matters, including this one.
I take it. I take it you read all the briefings that I submitted.
Of course.
On the part about the Lich Gate and the android named Frank. What did you think about that?
Well, this Frank sounds like he was an earlier model, perhaps defective.
You have sympathy for Frank?
No.
He's practically your cousin, maybe even your brother.
I have no biological brothers.
Well, Aiko's been talking this whole time. He's been trying to say trigger words to see if he can get any type of reaction that an android would not normally make. And I would assume Aiko's very familiar with this type of model. Can he make like an observation to see if anything he said actually caused him to, like, for a millisecond, let his guard down?
Sure. Go ahead. Wow. He is expressionless. Really doesn't show any emotion at all. He pauses for a moment while you're in this line of questions that you have for him, and then he turns around and asks you a question. Mr. Kimura, if you were in possession of that substance, what would you do with it?
As you read, one of the manifestations of it were these eggs. Another manifestation of it were these beetles, these vicious beetles. And then we had these velociraptor type creatures. Fundamentally, this seems capable of reprogramming life in a direction that I don't think DNA is capable of. I think cracking this would be cracking the code to the universe, cracking the code of life itself. This goes beyond mere weapons. If we could understand how this works, we could take over the universe. We could create life that could live anywhere, travel millions of years and not suffer any radiation damage. We need to understand this power.
Mr. Vartuhi's philosophy differs from yours somewhat. He's a bit more cautious of this technology.
I mean, he can't be too cautious if he's walking around with it in his pocket, but he's just a director, like I said. He sees the pawns, he doesn't see the board. But I think you do, guys. I think you see a lot more than the board.
When you say that you see with those 3 successes, just the faintest little hint of one side of his mouth curl up into a smile.
Yes. Guys, I want you to know, if I had the opportunity to work with somebody on this, it would be you that I would want to work with.
I'm honored. You've experienced and done much in your career, Mr. Kimura. And despite what happened on Baxter's Reach, I believe the circumstances were beyond your control. And as they say, perhaps you got a bad rap.
Keep in
This
touch, guys.
This conversation has been interesting. Thank you, Mr. Kimura. I have some NDAs to draft up. Now, time passes. Do you guys, first of all, sign the NDAs?
I think
Otmar would sign it.
is there a bar anywhere on the ship?
A what, sorry?
Any like a bar?
A bar? There's There is a lounge area, but it's pretty regulated. They don't want everyone to get drunk on a spaceship.
I think South is going to, because I know Mag said something about getting maybe a little casino ring going up. I think South is going to kind of roll his up and put it in his back pocket. On it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Gideon.
She'll say something like, I don't know exactly what sort of weight this kind of paper holds. Certainly not like cold hard credits in the hands. I think it's meaningless.
I don't think you guys should sign it. I think, I'm not going to lie, I do feel a little bad for maybe outing Aiko like that, but it's a little easier to get one person out of the brig as opposed to two, especially one being in a wheelchair. So it's a little easier getting Aiko out of the brig than Gideon and Otmar. And he seems pretty worried about the information of that vial getting out on the ship. And as our prospector friends said, they wanted a meeting with Aiko too, so maybe if we tell them about the goo, maybe we can stir up enough of a ruckus on the ship, slip Aiko out. Brig. There's only 6 cells. They can't arrest everyone in theory, so not humanely anyway. And he did say they weren't barbarians, so
South, you're a sentimental one, aren't you? Even if I agreed with the sentiment, what difference does a piece of paper make? Everything you just said we can do either way. In fact, it might be easier if they think we're neutered and docile.
that's the thing is, Mags, I know you being a woman, you've never had balls, but I do enjoy mine, and I do plan on staying unneutered. Especially not going to get neutered by some fucking corporation who destroyed my plant or our colony. I think if we sign the NDA, that gives them ammunition to throw against us if things do get a little sideways and out of their favor. They can use that to throw us under the bus. Like, hey, well, they signed it. They're on our side.
So I'll clarify some of the terms of the NDA. In exchange for you guys not saying anything about any substances that might have been recovered from the surface of Baxter's Reach, or any dealings with Aiko, you will have passage off the ship, if desired, with $5,000.
Destroy your planet, and that's all you get is $5,000.
$5,000. And however, if you do not sign the NDA, you will be bound to this ship.
Well, sign the NDA, we get passage off the ship, but that also gives them the right to just throw us in any fucking outer rim small colony they choose. If we don't sign it, they have to let us stay on the ship. They can't just throw us away whenever they please.
So what's the tally then? And she looks around.
I'm not signing it.
I can't pronounce half those words in these things. I'm not signing it.
I don't give a fuck about anything, if I'm honest.
Come on, Otmar. These people, They ruined our livelihoods. They took everything we had away from us. You're going to let them just drop us off in the next backwoods planet with $5,000? You really think everyone that died on Baxter's Reach was worth $5,000? We have a chance to take them for what they're worth. As Mags would say, the deck is stacked in our favor for once. He's worried about that goo getting out on the ship, and if word gets out on the ship about that goo, it's not going to be good.
Plus, if that goo does get out, it's just going to be like Baxter's Reach all over again, but in a tiny ass little ship. I think we need to try and figure out how to either get it away or destroy it.
All right. All right, then. Look, I can listen to reason. I'm a reasonable person.
Mags?
We'll have it your way then, South. Hopefully this takes us where we need to go.
I hope it does too.
So help me God, if I have to hear about another citation from Aiko, all bets are off.
Trust me, I don't particularly care to get him out, but well, he is a pain in the ass, but he is a pain in the ass I've quite grown accustomed to. Kind of like an ankle that always hurts. You just kind of get used to it after a while. It's kind of how I feel about Aiko. And when the corpos do come hunting us down, it would be nice to have someone with a little bit of insider knowledge.
What if we just leave him there until we're ready to make a move, and then we pick him up? I mean, dude, he's gotten fired. He can't get into anywhere special. Do we really need him?
No, but at least now we know where he's at. So
And if
we
we
do
break
need to
him
get
out,
him out before they move him somewhere or decide to he outlives his usefulness.
So none of you have signed. Okay. Gaius, who has been tasked to get you to sign the NDA, does say, I am obliged to inform you that by refusing to sign this NDA, you are restricted to stay upon this vessel.
Oh, see, I didn't know we were having this conversation in front of Gaius. I thought he just kind of
No,
dropped
no,
him
he's
off.
not there.
oh.
No. He just dropped them off. But then when you guys did not sign it with by the
Okay.
deadline, he came by to tell you that.
I'll tell
Um,
Gaius. I just, me being a lonely prospector on a dead end planet, my reading skills aren't too good, and kind of like Gideon, I can't understand half of this. So if you could just give me a little more time, maybe to just give it a good once over, I'm not going to sign my life away for nothing. So if it's okay with you and your bosses, I'd like to just have a sit down with it and really get into the meat and potatoes of it and really sit down and read it.
let me be clear. The expiration date or time was 2,400 hours today. If you do not sign by then, the deal is off.
Sounds like your director's really in a rush to get us off of the ship.
So, assuming none of you sign, I'm going to fast forward a little bit some time here. Over the course of the next 3 to 6 months, Aiko, you're still in the brig. This is your new home now. You're allowed to put up little posters if you want.
How about just choke?
I regret nothing.
But what are the rest of you guys are up to over the next little while? I'm gonna go around the screen. Megs.
So Mags at this time would have probably started pretty small with the void. She's already got some friends. Some of those folks, maybe she taps on the shoulder to help work the void in this interesting, seldom used crawl space near the air filtration system that she found. She will have spent some time and effort and cash to try to smuggle in some makeshift tables, some dim lighting. They've had to repair the ventilation system a few times because some of the stink from the ship's recycling keeps kind of coming through it. I think she would have established a small shadowy den where some of the crew who are hardworking crew would come and gamble away some of their grievances, spend some of their future in this location. And she's already got some folks maybe working on a little moonshine, maybe south. She's maybe tap South a little on the shoulder to help with some moonshine. Maybe Otmar for some muscle at the door. Gideon, maybe Gideon's a bit of the brains, if Gideon's interested, running the finances, keeping that all sort of in check, cooking the books.
All right, that's awesome. I would say that your patrons are the roughnecks, the mechanics and whatnot, the crew that keep the ship operational. I would say that the crew, including Carl from the Chimata no Kami, frequent it because they've kind of established a bond with you guys that you guys have survived through. Along with the Callan Prospectors. They're kind of almost cut from the same cloth as you guys, right? They're just out there trying to find their fortunes out here in the deepest parts of space. And they're not big fans of corpo types. They're really almost like wildcatters, almost trying to find their own thing. So you've got yourself a little bit of an operation here, Eggs. At the same time, Throop and her crew sometimes come in here, and they still have on the table an offer for you guys to help with their operations. Obviously, you can't take part of any of their flights or their missions. You could be part of their ground crew or operations, if you like. That interests any of you? Otmar, what are you up to?
So Otmar took a turn at bouncing, and his heart just wasn't in it. And so he was, starting to do some jobs for Throop, but really he's kind of scrounging. He's trying to round up some spare parts that he could use to maybe put together a zapper or two, build a stockpile of replacement parts. So he's working for Throop and doing good work, but also he's, some parts are going missing as he's scrounging some materials.
All right. I'm going to have you make a heavy machinery check.
Love that.
All right. So I'm going to say to build a functional zapper similar to what you had, like the whole extendable 4-foot long ones that extend out to 10, 15 feet. It's going to take you a little bit of time. I'm going to say you're going to need a total of 4 successes before you get it all. So you've got the first little components and you're putting that together. South, how about you?
I think South will make some moonshine for Mags, and he does kind of feel bad for how cold and calculated throwing Aiko in that cell felt, but at the same time, kind of felt good. Like, I don't know, he just is so tired of the corporate bullshit and everything that happened on Baxter's Reach. Like, he really, really wants to get back at him. And throughout this time, he's just been kind of making moonshine for Mags and maybe even being like a bartender, just, because you said there were some mechanic guys that come in there to gamble. And he's been trying to slowly get maybe some information out of them and maybe a way to get Aiko out of the brig in a relatively stealthy manner, and maybe assist Otmar on a few jobs with a group, just to kind of again maybe get in with them and kind of get a little information from them, and maybe kind of drizzle a little bit of information that happened on Baxter's Reach, and maybe give out some hints about the goo being on the ship, and maybe try to stir up a little bit of chaos, maybe unionize against the corpos.
All right. All right, perfect. And Gideon, how about you?
I think he's definitely going to be constantly keeping busy helping out Mags whenever he has time over at the Void. And then I know in last session, Throop offered to teach him how to fly, so he's also going to take her up on that offer and do that. And then whenever he has free time, he's going to try and just keep an eye on Wayland Yutani, try and hack into the systems almost and just make sure there's not anything super crazy weird going on with them. Just so he can keep busy and keep an eye on them.
All right. So first of all, your flight lessons obviously are not real; they're all simulated. But you do develop a relationship with Alecto. Kind of takes you under her wing. That teaches you all the ins and outs of piloting a Corvus class ship, which is what they fly, which is much smaller than the SEVs. A bit more manageable, and it's a bit more almost like a supply ship. It's almost like a tugboat, kind of the way it's built. And can you make a contact check for me, please? So you just kind of do a bit of snooping on Wayland Yutani.
Sure thing.
Nice. One thing you notice, you managed to do a little bit of snooping, and you notice that Director Vartui has quite an extensive medical log going on. He seems to be getting a lot of medical appointments, increasing in frequency over time. All you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And Aiko, how are you enjoying prison life?
Not going well. Pacing, push-ups, limited coffee, no power. He was not in a great mental state. It's degraded further. And I think he considers South a rival at this point. He's been plotting a bit of revenge on South.
Interesting. During your prison stay, you do have the occasional visit, both from the director and from Gaius. Gaius often comes by and brings you books to read. Just tries to keep you up to date with the ongoings of the missions and whatnot. Just kind of small talk. Just kind of some philosophical, intellectual type conversations. He's really your only visitor of that nature. I don't know if any of your friends have visited you in that time. Yeah, Megs?
Mags would have tried to recruit, was it Mike, the lanky security guard?
Mhm.
What are the odds that Mike is into playing cards?
All right, go ahead and make a manipulation check for him, please.
I didn't think we could see Aiko. I didn't think they would let us see him. I thought they wanted to keep us separated.
Oh, well, come now. That's ridiculous.
All right. You have to put a little extra effort into convincing this guy. He's straight as an arrow. This guy drinks milk, calls his mom every moment he can. He's just like, yeah, almost incorruptible. But you finally manage to pay a visit.
And while Mike is in the void, she definitely makes him feel like he's winning. Make sure that the dice are loaded just right for Mike to enjoy some good success that day. And tries to get friendly with him. And if successful, she might leverage Mike to send a little note to Aiko.
Question: Is Mike he's the normal security guard? Like he's there Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
6 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna with only that one success that which you had to push to get. It would take you some time, Megs, to work on him. First of all, just to get him into the void, and then secondly, to convince him to send a message.
That's her intention. She's working
So
up.
it takes you a good 4 or 5 months before you're at the point in your relationship with him for him to do that. So he says, "Okay, I really shouldn't be doing this. This is against regulation. You've been good to me, and I appreciate it. You got a nice establishment here, and honestly, you've made me a fairly wealthy man. So I'll do this one, but please, it's just between us, right?"
Just between us. One good hand, leads to another good hand. Just a good thank you, Send him this.
And you know him well enough that he's a straight up guy. He's not going to look at your note or anything. He'll do exactly what he says. He'll deliver it. Aiko. So aside from Gaius, basically reading you bedtime stories, Aiko, you have this one visitor, this lanky, tall security guard. Comes in, doesn't say much. He says, "Mr. Kimura, this is from Megs," and just hands you an envelope.
The note reads, "We're playing the long game. Keep your cards in your vest. We'll take care of you over time."
Aiko's gonna spend a long time seeing if there's a coded message in there or hidden ink. He's really bored, so he's overthinking this, maybe.
All right. Can you also make an observation check for me, please, Aiko?
I can always make it.
You also get the occasional visit from the director. Often very brief. He asks you basically, have you had a change of heart? Have you changed your mind in terms of being able and telling me exactly where you got the sample from? He's always asking the same question: where did you get it from?
And I'm always telling him that I need some rank restored before I'm going to divulge that information. It's the last tiny bit of leverage I have.
And you notice over the course of those months, The visits at first were fairly frequent, maybe once every few days. Then it went like once a week, couple weeks, and once a month. And then by the time like 4 or 5 months have elapsed, it's been like a couple months since you've seen him. But on his last visit, you can see he's not well. He's flush. You can see he's sweating. His tie, he's always fiddling with his tie as if it's suffocating him. And his eyes look a little bloodshot, and doesn't look like he's been getting much sleep. Aiko, we're running out of time. I need to know.
What's wrong with you?
Deep space flight doesn't agree with me. I just need a little. Nothing's wrong with me. This is your last chance, Aiko. I'm not coming back.
When he says that, can I tell if he means that in a I'm not coming back because I'm done with you, or I'm not coming back because I'm dead kind of?
An observation
Um,
check. It could mean either, but you get the impression that he's making it more not about his health, but more like this is your last chance.
And if I do share this information, what's in it for me?
To get out of the brig, for starters. And I'll offer you the same deal that I offered your friends, who, by the way, have declined to take me up on it. So
Those are not my friends. Well, Aiko's going to look over at the note from Mags. I can only give it up if you restore my previous rank.
sighs, long sigh at that. And you can hear almost like a raspiness in his breath as he does that. Sorry you feel that way. Gets up.
Bartui,
Hmm?
you played a good game.
Could have been so much more. Aiko. And the following week, Gaius comes to your cell with a guard at his side. No books under his arms. No little gifts or time for conversation. He just stands in front of your cell door and motions for the guard. Guard open. Holds the door open.
What happened to Vartui?
Mr. Vartui had a bad heart. He's no longer with us. Mr. Kimura, you are now in charge of the Weyland-Yutani delegation.
Good work, guys. Very good work. The androids don't get paid, or do they get paid? How do these androids work?
They don't get paid.
Does he have his own quarters?
He does.
Guys, we're going to be building a library in your quarters.
You're very well. If that is what you wish.
Now, the first thing I need access to, I want to look at those files on the nuke. I want some information. Who
course.
greenlit that nuke?
Please follow me to your office, and I will provide you with all the codes required to access that information.
Oh, and have someone bring South to the brig.
Very well.
It was the long game, Aiko. Did you not read the note?
And all right, so South got guards coming knocking on your door.
Where am I at the void, or am I just kind of?
They probably would have found you while you were in your quarters.
Have any of them been to the void?
These are security personnel? Unlikely.
Uh,
The only security personnel that you would know that has been there is that Mike guy.
Guess I'll open the door.
Mr. Jacob Howard, please come with us.
For what? Broken any rules? I've been good, following the rules you guys set. What's this about?
We're just
Haven't had
following
any-
orders, sir. Please come with us.
Following orders from who? Me and the director had an understanding, I thought.
Oh, the director is no longer in charge of Weyland-Yutani. It is now Vice President Aiko Kimura.
South will just kind of look up. That motherfucker. You, boys don't happen to have a cigarette or anything, right?
Do not smoke while on duty, sir. Please.
I'll come. But, mind, maybe making a pit stop at the void just so I can talk to Mags.
The void is kind of below the radar, I think. You don't want to necessarily let the security personnel know that it exists.
I'll look at them and just say, 'cause I'm assuming I've been making moonshine for Mags, so if I don't show up for work, Mags will kind of notice, like, so I'm going to just look at them and go, just give me a minute, will you? I'll be right out, and kind of shut the door real quick, and then try to scramble up a sheet of paper and just in like terrible fast handwriting, just write on it, Aiko, Vice President in the brig. Aiko's out. Time to pay the piper. And open the door again and say, all right, it's over with.
They escort you to the brig South, where you are let in to your new home.
In his cell, he will find a note as well as a blank piece of paper that says will. The note says he's going to be executed at dawn. He can leave his last will and testament.
Well, I guess Aiko really has lost it. She really doesn't understand the meaning of long game, but it's good to know that once a corpo, always a corpo, and he'll always go back to his corpo overlords like the good little puppy dog he is. Should have known better than to try to get him out. But I think South has got faith in Mags and Gideon and Otmar. I think he knows that it's going to take him a minute, probably a few days, to notice that he's gone and not at the Hollow bartending, making moonshine, but he knows. Unlike Aiko, he's got faith. So he'll just kind of, he's almost a little bit cocky. Like he'll probably sit in his one little lonely bed and kind of put his feet up on the bars of the cell and just kind of put his arms behind his head, kind of relax, just wait.
Aiko's going to show up at his cell at 6 a.m. and just let him out. With it, he's going to give him a talking to, though.
So I see you went back to your corporate overlords.
This was the plan all along.
It was a plan within a plan?
The only reason that it took this long is I wanted it to take this long. But I brought you here so that you could learn a lesson. This is what true power is. This is leverage. But I will say, I was impressed with your little hillbilly move where you used me for your benefit. But you've got a lot to learn if you want to survive in the corporate world like me.
Aiko, the only reason I did it was because can't get Gideon out of a cell and can't get Otmar out of a cell. I figured it'd be easier to get one person out of a cell than two. I
Yes,
do
I
hate
was-
that it come off a little cold, but I didn't want to let you in on it because I didn't think it would sell it.
Well, if I wanted to be rescued by monkeys, I'd go live in a zoo. Now, on to the other matter at hand. Aiko's going to pass him the data chips on all the information surrounding the nuke and any other top secret files on Baxter's Reach. Get this to Mags, Gideon, and Otmar. You guys can have a look, and I'm going to continue to deal with things at the top here for a bit.
So do you gather them like into your little conference room or whatever area?
Well, for right now, I just give it to South to go, so South can go meet with them and disseminate the information.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do you guys review the sealed records as to what was behind the nuking? And it was the director predominantly who they all agreed that was a threat. What you guys were facing at the facility, at the alien facility, but it was under Director Kamal Bartui's direction that the nuke be targeted at the colony and at the facility. One other thing you will notice, Aiko, in the entire suite dedicated to Weyland-Yutani, they have their own little medical facility there and a little lab. And when you are alone, guys will take you to it as he gives you a little tour of the area. And you see in the Weyland-Yutani med lab, in a hermetically sealed like med pod, the director in some form of cryo or stasis or something like that. And as you are standing over him, Gaius looks at you and says, "Time."
Never want to show your hand too early, guys. Besides, we may have use for him yet.
Oh. But I have already found a use. And that's where we'll end.
I also think, did Aiko tell South exactly how he got out and is now
Nope.
suddenly the vice president?
Nope.
Okay, well, I think at some point South will probably give the crew that information, like Aiko is out. He let me out, so I don't think he's a threat, but he's somehow the vice president, which is a little odd. You go from prisoner to vice president in a matter of months.
I was wondering why business was picking up. Winds are changing.
You sound like Mags.
Yeah, so we'll pick it up from there on next week. But is there anything else before I let you guys go? Is there anything else you wanted to bring up or talk about, like during that period? It's been like 6 months now since you were debriefed originally.
Is Gideon back on his feet?
Gideon is fully healed and recovered, minus one
Oh,
kidney.
thank God.
Finally,
Finally.
Elizabeth.
Gideon is out of a wheelchair?
We
Yeah.
need to hold a "you're no longer paralyzed" party.
Well, we did, but you were at the rig.
You weren't invited.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Megs, Andrea comes looking to you for a job as like maybe a bartender or something at the Void, if you're up for that.
Oh, side note after this.
Okay.
Yes.
And you found out that Elena Brooks left. She was dropped off on another colony in
Oh, cool.
those 6 months.
Is the captain
really
still
lost
on the
there.
ship? The
Captain Lynn?
the
Yeah,
yeah.
she's still
Oh,
on the ship.
she's under arrest, 100%.
Immediately forcing
110%.
his
The
power.
power is immediately
Immediately.
going to your head. I love it.
She freaking killed Benji.
She
It's true.
didn't directly kill
didn't.
him. It
But
was
yeah.
her people. But
Fine, she'll have her Nuremberg trial.
To be fair, wasn't it Benji that fired the first shot in that encounter, or no? I'm
I
misremembering.
thought that was
It was Ezra.
Ezra.
Oh, it was Ezra. That's right. I knew it was.
But
one of
maybe
them.
it's like a Han Solo thing, right? Maybe you say he shot first, but he didn't shoot first.
right. Okay. With that, we'll end this session, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm just going to end the stream. Thanks for those who
We
watched.
didn't do experience last time, or this time. Are we not getting experience for these ones?
Oh, true. It's the whole experience thing. Okay. Let's do that.
We
Actually,
can, we can
no.
just do 5 and 5 or do quick or something. If you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole.
No, I'm gonna skip over experience because
Okay.
all the skills that you guys have gained, like the piloting and stuff, that was part of this in between.
Sure.
So as soon as you get off the
Yeah,
ship,
that's fair.
that's when you guys will start to.
Okay.
to queue
Andrew,
up
you have
here.
such faith that we're gonna get off the ship.
Well, we're in charge now. I mean, I don't mean we, but
I think things are going to pick up very quickly for you next week.
I still don't. I cannot believe you're vice president. How did you? So in 6 months you managed to get fired, put in the brig, and then rehired and got a promotion.
not a promotion. I was always a vice president.
Well, technically,
so
because
you just-
you're now in charge of everybody.
The director
Because
used
the
to be in
director's
charge.
out of commission, right? Or incubated, or whatever the hell.
Oh, I
Definitely
think he's
infected.
going to have. I think he's going to burst to life.
Axis Reach 2.0. This will be good.
Oh boy.
Aiko gets in charge, and the whole ship just goes into total disarray.
Other ship, 10,000 people in cryo.
Just for reference, how many people were on Baxter's Reach?
Probably. I think we said it was under a few thousand, 2,000 to 3,000. I think so.
So
Wasn't that
we went from a
Yeah.
catastrophe of 2,000 to 3,000 to 10,000 people. That's just in cryo or on board.
in cryo? On board active crew, there's 135 plus you.
Here's the good news: aliens can't fly ships, so worst they can do is kill all of us.
Yeah, and then in space,
The
no one will
worst they
hear us
could do.
scream.
Right.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week and see how you guys, if you guys actually get off the ship. I want to see you guys be pirates.
I want to be a pirate.
I'd hate to see the piloting skill go to waste.